I'm Mike, the money motivator. Y'all, what's happening? In this video today, I'm gonna give y'all 3 ETFs to outperform the market. I'm talking about smoke the market. If you're new to my channel, make sure you like and subscribe. I teach you how to save money, make money, and build generational wealth. So if you're interested in any of that, rock with your boy once a week right here on this channel. Before I get into it, I'm gonna make a couple things clear. When I'm referring to the market, I'm talking about the S&P 500. The S&P 500 tracks the stock market's performance of the top 500 companies. The S&P 500 averages about 12% a year. If you've seen any of my previous videos, I probably talk about the S&P 500 all the time and tell you not to invest in individual stocks. In this video, I'm gonna teach you how to invest in ETFs, which is groups of stocks. With the group of stocks is way better. So instead of picking Google and Apple, you can have Google, Apple, Microsoft, all in one investment. So I got 3 ETFs for y'all today, guaranteed to outperform the market. When you're looking for an ETF, one of the most important things to look for is the expense ratio. I don't want an expense ratio higher than 0.4. An expense ratio is basically a small amount that the ETF is charging you for that fund. The higher the expense ratio, the more you're paying for the investment. The expense ratio for the S&P 500 is 0.03. So you want a low expense ratio. And that's the main thing that you want to look for when you're looking for an ETF. ETFs are cool because instead of picking individual stocks like I tell y'all not to all the time, y'all can pick individual ETFs to outperform the main ETF, which is the S&P 500 that gives you 12%. The first ETF I'm going to tell y'all about has outperformed the S&P 500, and it probably should for a long time. And that's Invesco QQQ. Invesco QQQ expense ratio is 0.2. Invesco QQQ is really the technology industry. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Nvidia. So investing in QQQ, when you put in your $5 in Invesco QQQ or whatever, what you're doing is buying a fractional share of the fund, but you're buying in fractional shares of the tech industry. The tech industry is 30% of the S&P 500, which is the largest amount of the S&P 500. Technology industry is making the most money, so it only makes sense that Invesco QQQ is one of the best ETFs out there. In the past 5 years, the S&P 500 increased 62%, but in the past 5 years, Invesco QQQ increased 116%. So within the last 5 years, Invesco QQQ almost doubled the amount the S&P 500 did. That was one of my favorites. I'm gonna save the best for last. Because Invesco QQQ should outperform the S&P 500 during market uptrends, I needed to throw one in there that would perform better when the market is on a downturn. So I added SCHD. SCHD has an expense ratio of 0.06. I like SCHD for 3 reasons. The companies that's in SCHD perform better when technology isn't performing better. So it'll perform better when Invesco QQQ isn't performing as good. The expense ratio is low, and it's a dividend ETF. A dividend is companies paying you on a specific date, whether that's every month, every 3 months, but they pay you on a schedule. So SCHD is full of dividend prominent companies, and those are usually companies that do better when the technology industry isn't doing as good. So as HCSD has industrial companies, healthcare companies, energy companies like gas companies like Chevron, and they pay a dividend every 3 months of $2.60. So as you increase the amount of shares you get, you'll continue to add that additional $260 a share. Another reason why I love a dividend ETF in the portfolio is because when you get the dividend, you want to reinvest your dividends. You want to put the dividend back into the investment. But once you get to the point where you don't want to work anymore, you want to retire, you want a recurring income, that dividend ETF will pay you every 3 months. So you'll create a paycheck for yourself every 3 months for recurring income. It's something you could pass down to your kids or pass down generations. InvestQQ will probably be a larger portion of your investment where you take that out. Last but not least, I have this in my own portfolio, and that's SMH. SMH is a semiconductor ETF. Their expense ratio is higher than the other two. It's 0.35, but it is lower than 0.4. so I had to add it on the list. I like the semiconductor industry because it's rapidly expanding. Everything that they're making now needs semiconductor chips. iPhones, refrigerators, autonomous cars, they all need semiconductor chips. Nvidia this past year was probably the fastest growing stock and will continue to grow. I'll talk about Nvidia a little bit more in my last video. Y'all check that out if y'all want a little more information on Nvidia. Last 5 years, the SMH has increased 199%, while the S&P 500 only increased 62%. That's more than 3 times as much. And the top 3 stocks in SMH are beast: Taiwan Semiconductor, Nvidia, and Broadcom. Taiwan Semiconductor is the leading maker of chips. They make about 80% of the advanced chips. Within the past year, they only increased 14%. That's part of it not being a US company and the suspicion of China invading Taiwan. Taiwan Semiconductor is building a branch in Arizona. They got the semiconductor industry on lock and they're making a lot of revenue. I do expect the stock to do a little bit better in the future. Nvidia has increased 162% this year, Taiwan Semiconductor 14%, and Broadcom has increased $367 just this year, 69%. Semiconductor industry is rapidly growing. Those 3 names alone will carry that ETF a long way. That's it, y'all. That's that 3 ETF portfolio. QQQ will continue to outperform the S&P 500. SMH should continue to outperform it too. SCHD should be a dividend play, but also invest more into that for market uncertainty like recessions or market crashes. I'm Mike the Money Motivator, man. If you haven't already, like and subscribe.